Hello, today I would like to go over a really great free resource that you can utilize with your students who are alternately assessed when you're working on the Science Essential Element 5 LS1-1, which is providing evidence that plants need air and water to grow. So the website that I'd like to go through and explain to you today is called Scholastic Study Jams, and it's a really awesome website. It is a completely free website that you can utilize, and you can see that it has both math and science content areas. And right from the beginning, right on the homepage, you can tell it's kind of cartoon based. There's a bunch of different characters here, some students you can go through, or your students can go through, and they can visit each of them and see what they're like. But it's very engaging, it's very fun, and it's cartoon based, which is pretty nice. And there's a lot of fun content that your students can utilize when they go through this and that you can use for various lessons. So they have the subjects of math and science, and again, it's completely free. So we're going to go through science, right, because we're talking about plants needing air and water to grow. And you'll see we have plants right here. It pops up as the first one. But there's multiple different topics, right? So within science, you'll see, keep going around and check them all out. Or you can go right here and it'll give you each of the topics, right? So you can go into multiple different areas. You can find different videos, different activities. And what we're going to go through today is we're going to talk about the roots and the stems. And I'm going to show you what they have for this particular activity and then show you some of the other things that they have along with it. It's really great for students. It's very interactive. There's a lot of fun, engaging content. So if you go into roots and stems, right, because we're talking about how plants need air and water, and they get their water through the ground, and they get that through the stems. So let's click on this to start going through. And the first thing that's going to pop up is a slideshow, right? So here's the slideshow. Down here, it has all the different vocabulary that you can use. And if you click on each of the vocabulary words, it'll then give you the definition. So that's something that you can pre-teach with your students. You can go over right before you even go into the slideshow, and you can say, okay, let's talk about this. Anther. Does anybody know what that is? Maybe you've talked about the parts of a flower, and then you can remind them that anther is part of a flower that releases pollen. Then we can go into tissue. What tissue is? Mineral, a substance found in nature, right? That is not an animal or a plant. And then nutrients, something that is needed by people, animals, and plants to stay strong and healthy, right? So you can go through, if there's a particular vocabulary word that you know your students may not need, then you can just skip over that, right? But I really like that it points that out right before we get into any activity so that you can go over that. You can make sure that your students understand it, and then you can go back and practice. So let's go into our slideshow. And I'm going to hit pause here because if I don't, it'll start sliding on through all our different pictures. And so the first one right here is roots are an important part of plants that help them to survive, right? So it's how they get water and minerals from the soil. Plants need water and minerals to make food. So you can go through, and since they're actual real photographs, you can talk to your students about what they notice, what they observe. Where are the roots? The roots are below the soil, below the ground. What do they look like? They're kind of like fingers that reach out. And what do they do? And right here you have some of that text, that information saying that the roots is what gets the water and the minerals from the soil. So you can go through all that. You can, describe how the roots look different than the plant itself and their leaves, and they have different purposes, right? So you can go through the whole thing, and if you need to at any point go over anything or talk more about something, definitely don't forget to hit that pause button, right? So you hit play and you'll go through your slideshow, and then here is a picture of a root under a microscope, right? And if you want to move along, you just hit this arrow over here and you move on down, and it talks about the different root hairs and what they're called. And then the cortex of the root, right? So it goes through everything, and you can describe it. You can take as much time with your students as they need to go through and read. You can ask them what they're observing about different pictures that you see, right? Plants use this food to make flowers. Don't forget to pause. And then all the trees that you see here, these stems are similar to roots. So you can go through the whole activity. right? So if we go out of our slideshow, you'll see down here are a bunch of different related topics, right? So they also have these videos, and these are the videos that I often choose to play with my students. And you'll see here is the video. Again, here's your vocabulary words that you want to go over maybe before you play the video to make sure your students understand what is happening, right? And then you could play the video, and I'll play a small snippet of it for you. They're not very long anyway.
Mia, aloha. What's new in Hawaii?
Hawaii is amazing. There's so much to do. I went snorkeling today, and you should see all the different plants and flowers. Look!
Oh, that would make a great painting.
I'm sending you tons of pics, Sam. I swear plants can grow anywhere here. The beach, the rainforest, the mountains, even underwater.
So you can see there's some really fun and engaging videos. And then you have this thing over here, so you can go through as many videos as you want, right? They also have one on photosynthesis, right? So if we're talking about how plants make their own energy, right? You can go through and do that. There's a little sing karaoke activity. You can, again, play the video. And then they have a quiz. So you can go through and actually ask your students questions after you go through and play the video. So again, not every topic has a video, but you can always find a video that will relate to the content. And so then you can go through after you watch the video and then go through the quiz with them and see how they do, right? So which ingredient is necessary for photosynthesis, right? We're going to say, well, actually, all of the above, and then move along, right? So you go through, and then once you get to the end, it'll give you your answers, and it's just a really fun website that has a ton of different activities. There's a ton of different content. When you're in photosynthesis under plants, again, you can go down here and see the related jams that all are under the content of plants, right? So there's the plant cells, the adaptations that we had seen. If we want to go into flowers, they'll have an activity over here, so we can click on that and see what it brings us to. So again, here's another video, and then here's all your key vocabulary. So not only does it have science, like I had said, it does have math. There's a bunch of different content. It's completely free. It's a great way to go over different science topics with your students virtually when you want to show them in real life what's happening, and you can utilize it with a fun cartoon type video that's very educationally based. It's by Scholastic, right? So it's a really great website. It's super fun, and it's completely free, which is even better. So I hope that this is really fun for you to utilize in your classroom. I hope your students like it, and I hope you have a lot of fun going through different study jams by Scholastic.